Played this yesterday. If you missed it, I'm sure you've heard about it, but I want to play it again. And just in case you were taking out the garbage and you weren't listening to the program, here is what Joe Biden had to say about Trump supporters on Tuesday on a call with Voto Latino. Listen.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
All right, you heard that, okay? So the media has been in overdrive time to cover it up. In fact, the AP, I read this yesterday, their second paragraph, I think it was, and I'm going to quote directly from it. In a call organized by the Hispanic advocacy group Voto Latino, Biden on Tuesday responded to a comic at Trump's rally who called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. It goes on to say Biden's initial comments were garbled. They weren't garbled. Didn't you hear them? Well, President Trump seized on this yesterday, as I thought he would. Clip 13.
About being garbage, maybe 250 million people. They shouldn't be talking. That's like deplorable for Hillary. This is the deplorable for Hillary. And I think this is worse, actually. For Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
Now, for those listening and not watching, President Trump made those comments from a garbage truck. All right. Speaking of the election, we've been going through each of the 10 states where Planned Parenthood allies are working to enshrine a so-called right to an abortion in state constitutions. Now, this is different. It's never happened before. All right? They're putting it in two state constitutions as a right. And when something is a constitutional right, it trumps everything else. Now, those states are Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New York, and South Dakota. And I'm optimistic we're going to see these efforts fail, that is, to enshrine abortion into the constitutions in several of these states. But you need to vote. You need to vote. This is on the ballot. And we have a resource available for you if you would like it. If you live in one of these states or know someone who does, it breaks down each of these amendments. You just text the word life to 67742, life to 67742, and you get a link and you can take a look at it. Well, today I want to take a look at New York's Proposal 1, which goes far beyond the issue of unborn life and is dangerous on multiple levels, as we've seen with some of these other amendments. Joining me now to unpack this is Jason McGuire, Executive Director of the New York Families Foundation. Jason, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Tony, it's good to be with you again. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, I know we've got a lot of listeners and viewers in New York, so let's talk about New York's Proposal 1, the so-called Equal Rights Amendment. What does it say? What does it do?
Yeah, I appreciate you calling it the so-called Equal Rights Amendment. You know, we prefer the term the Gender Amendment or even the Parent Replacement Act, because this amendment goes further than many of the other states. This is adding not just the fundamental right to an abortion inside our state constitution, but it's also elevating some other protected class statuses, such as gender identity, gender expression, and yes, pregnancy outcomes, sexual orientation. Other things that will elevate those protected class statuses to essentially the same fundamental right as my right to religious liberty. That's why this is so dangerous in the Empire State.
Jason, what would this do to parental rights?
Well, you'll always be one court decision away from losing your parental rights. So if Prop 1 is successful, all it would take is a court decision, a judge somewhere, and in a very liberal state like New York, they're not hard to find, who would really elevate the rights of that child over parental rights. So if a child says, perhaps I don't want to be homeschooled any longer, or I don't want to attend a private school, or I think I want to change my gender identity or my name or whatever it might be, that will be up to a judge's decision rather than mom or dad. It pits parents against their children here in New York.
And because it's being placed into the Constitution where it's never been before, it's beyond the reach of the legislature. Even if you had a good legislature, it would be beyond their reach. And so it is strictly in the court's purview to decide what this means and how it'll be applied.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're looking at a state court system that is very liberal. Essentially the Chief Justice of our Court of Appeals, New York's highest court, entered into a dissenting opinion that said that Happy the elephant in the Bronx Zoo was deserving of the rights of personhood, but cannot seem to find those same rights for an unborn child. I don't want to trust my parental rights or the right to the life of an unborn child to that court. We hope to get it to a federal level at some point, but it's too expensive and it's not where I should have to go to defend my rights here in New York.
Wow. You do have some problems on your courts. So what do voters in New York need to do as it pertains to Proposal 1?
Well, first, remember to flip your ballot when you vote, whether it's an early voting now through Sunday or on Tuesday, November 5th. Do not forget to flip your ballot. It will be on the back of every ballot statewide as Proposal 1, and vote no on Prop 1. Second, this Sunday is the last Sunday before the election. So if churches are looking for opportunities to get this information in the hands of their congregants, they can simply visit our website at newyorkfamilies.org/prop1. At newyorkfamilies.org/prop1, we have put resources there, bulletin flyers, slide images for your church's PowerPoint presentations, social media images. Just spread the word to as many people as possible, as much time as we have left between now and when polls close at 9 o'clock on Tuesday night.
All right, Jason, thanks so much for joining us, and thank you for the great work you do there in New York.
Thank you, Tony.